Most people, they don't realize the level of violence that we're capable of.
You saved lives.
You're gonna pledge your allegiance to the CIA?
We just received actionable intel that a Tier 1 target is in London. He's buying a warhead for a tactical nuke. I need you.
You're talking about a messed up war junkie who won't go home because you people won't let him.
What happened to you?
You gotta keep taking out bad guys so I don't drive in a goddamn alimony.
This is a bad guy we're going after, okay? Top of the president's kill list. Either we execute, or a lot of people are gonna get killed.
You really gonna get a war with the CIA?
They're almost on my level. Almost.
It was an ambush. Somehow they knew we were coming.
You think you're not expendable?
You're compromised. Men can be replaced.
You're on your own. Trust no one.
Move! Kill anything that moves. Take the shot!
Let's finish this.
To it. And yeah, man, I'm so happy that you joined us here at Black Film Institute, you know. Great to see you.
Thanks for having me.
It's always an honor, always a pleasure, my man. Always a pleasure, always an honor, my man. So yeah, like I came to see your film was it 2018? And was it 2018?
Yeah, it must have been. God, I know. Myself.
It was a while ago, but time has just gone so quick, isn't it? And it's like, you know, the film is fantastic. I really loved it. It's high energy. It's different. You know, you've got all different types of stars, and you've got Milo Gibson. Milo Gibson, everyone, you know, Gibson, that's a famous Hollywood name right there, man. That's Mr. Gibson's son, Mel Gibson's son, the one and only, you know what I mean? That's fantastic, man. And you've got legendary William Fitchner, who's in it. And you got my mate in it, Gabenga Akanabi. Awesome cast, and a host of many other stars in there. I mean, it's so smoothly done. It's all shot in London as well. Tell us, man, where did you get the idea from, Matt? How did you conjure up this idea to? Did you write the script for this?
Yeah. When did I get the idea from? I wanted to do something that was kind of like The French Connection and the Gene Hackman film from the 70s, and sort of Collateral, kind of like Collateral, where it was all set at night. And yeah, it was just a manhunt movie that was sort of fast, you know, kind of low on exposition, that just moved along, and you know, to try and do some really interesting action scenes, and I think that's kind of where it sprang from. That and wanting to make another film as well.
Awesome. Where can people go and watch it? I mean, it's available on Amazon, available on
yeah, it's on Netflix as well.
Netflix, woo! Netflix.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Everyone needs to go.
Yeah, it's still on Netflix, so it must be doing all right because it's still on Netflix.
Yeah, man, definitely.
I think you know, action always does well on Netflix, so it's good. It's good for us and good for them, good for the film.
Awesome, Matt Hope. So how did you get started in directing, filmmaking? Where did it all begin for you, Matt?
The kind of usual story. My uncle used to run a video repair shop, and so he always had stacks of videos, and he showed me Rocky, the first Rocky, one day, and that was it. I just fell in love with movies after that.
Cool.
And then you know, my parents had a video camera, you know, started making films myself.
Oh, awesome.
And then from there, I never went to film school. I just sort of made my own films. And in my early 20s, I wrote a couple of features that were made. Nothing really happened with them, but I thought I could sort of write my way into directing, and that didn't happen. So I just said, you know what, I'm just going to direct my own film. I'm just going to go out and do it myself. So, you know, I made a short film. You know, we looked at that, and you know, and then some people I was working with, we thought, well, you know, we should make something that we can sell. So raised some money to make a sort of post-apocalyptic horror zombie type thing called The Vanguard, which was, funny enough, about 15 years ago. Anyway, so from there, I raised the money myself, and we got that sold. Lionsgate released it here on DVD, I think about 2008. And then, I met some other producers, and we made The Veteran with Table Kebbell and Brian Cox after that. And then I met the producers of All the Devil's Men via making The Veteran, and then we got started on that.
So that's how it starts. Yeah, that's how it starts. Then you started off with a short film. You just decided just to go and do it yourself. That's key. And so you started off as a screenwriter. So that wasn't working. So you just grabbed the camera. You said, "Look, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to do it." Is it? Would you say this industry is the kind of thing? Because there's a lot of directors, a lot of up and coming young directors coming up, and a lot of them don't have the finance or the contacts, or even the experience to go and make a big film. Would you just say it's just about just getting out there and just doing it, starting off with as a short film, with short films? What would you say?
Yeah, I would say that. I would say, I mean, I've been writing since I was a child. So, I think if you understand story, that's the most important thing, I mean, especially today with, the technology that we have. Steven Soderbergh's been shooting features on his iPhone. You can cut. I mean, when I cut The Vanguard, I cut it myself in my bedroom initially. From a very old version of Premiere Pro. And that was the start of it. But now, I mean, you've got so much technology. There's kind of no excuse. Really, what you need is a good story, a good script, and good actors. Those are the most important thing, so make a whole bunch of shorts, make as much as you can, stick it on YouTube, do whatever, but it's that kind of, you learn by doing, and you hear a lot of people say, oh, it's really tough in the industry, and it is, there's no doubt about that. However, the industry always needs directors, writers, technicians, actors, so somebody's got to do it. So why not? Man. Anybody who's listening to this, you should go and do it. I mean,
awesome, man.
I always tell people that, don't be swayed by it. Just get out there and do it.
Come on, man. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I've got a young man who works with us as well. His name's Andre Farquharson, and he's a young up and coming filmmaker. And what we do at the Institute, we always try to get this kind of information. And big ups to yourself for your time, Matt, for giving us your time and sharing your pearls of wisdom and experience, man. Really appreciate it here at the Black Film Institute. And we've got this young man called Andre. He's a filmmaker, and we're going to bring him in on the Zoom as well. He's going to ask you some questions, or he's going to join in with ourselves as well, because I think it's definitely important to kind of like pass on that knowledge. And mate, you're Brit, you're Londoner, right? You're a Londoner. You from London?
I'm not from London originally. I live in London, but I'm not. I'm from just outside of London.
Just outside of London.
Yeah. In Hertfordshire.
Cool. Here he is, young filmmaker Andre Farquharson. This is Matt Hope, the maker of All the Devil's Men, and Andre is a young filmmaker. And Andre, man, we're just talking with Matt Hope about his awesome movie that is out on Netflix right now, and just saying how he got started. He, just got the camera, just done it himself. Didn't go film school. I've read a lot of some bios on directors. They just went and did it. And Matt was just saying, there's a lot of directors that are getting iPhones, like phones, to shoot films. Andre, and Andre is a young filmmaker himself, so I'm very glad that Andre is involved in this discussion. And so with All the Devil's Men. How long did it take to shoot? What was the budget?
The budget was probably around about 5 million, but that sort of, I mean, there's a lot of the actual probably budget was maybe 2 million,
right?
Because there was a lot of tax credits and a lot of deals and all that kind of stuff, you know. So the actual money you get, it's not quite as much as you hope it's going to be. But yeah, I mean, we shot it in 36 days. I mean, that's quite good. You know, it's almost 6 weeks. But it's still tough. I mean, to do action, the amount of action I think our movie is like 50% action. So, you know, you have to be, if you're going to do action, you have to be really well prepared, you know. So everything is storyboarded, you know, everything is worked out to the nth degree. And, you know, so you can't, you know, on these kinds of films, you can't go back and do reshoots. That kind of thing. So you know, have to know what you're doing and, you know, to get it all. So we were lucky, you know, we had a very good crew, very good DP, very good stunt coordinator, you know, and everybody was just on it. You know, and you have to have good weather karma. I always believe that. I have very good weather karma so far, you know, touch wood.
Exactly. And, you know, I had the honor to come to West Indian Film Studios to see some of the scenes that are being shot with a good friend, Benga, awesome actor who's been in 24. He's The Wire as well, Benga. How did you cast this film? I mean, I know you did different locations. My man, you done it in 30 plus days. Awesome. That is awesome.
That's incredible.
It's incredible, man. It's incredible. And like the locations, it had that kind of Jason Bourne kind of style. I saw that kind of feel to it, the CIA kind of thing. Very much your own handprint, fingerprint on it as well. So like, how did you go about casting the film, Matt?
We cast Benga, actually it was, I mean, I obviously knew his work to a degree from The Wire, but it was actually Lucy Hellier, our casting director. She suggested him, and she, you know, he wanted to do it, and we had a very good like video chat like this, and he just said, yeah, okay, I'm going to do it, and he was great. I love Benga. He's so funny. I love him, you know, man. He's very you know, he's got a live wire, and it was just interesting working with someone who has, you know, because he writes himself, you know, that he ad-libs and does all this stuff, and it was good, you know. It's sometimes it's sort of, you know, sometimes it's tricky when he's like doing all kinds of things, and but it was, we had such a great time. Yeah, he's such he's a fantastic actor as well.
He is. He's a great guy.
He's just done To Kill a Mockingbird, hasn't he? And with Aaron Sorkin, you know. So yeah, no, he's going from strength to strength. Yeah.
Oh, he is, man. He's excellent. He's also in the movie with John Boyega and some other actors in the movie called Detroit. He's awesome.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. Awesome. He's very good. He's got a tiny part, but he's really good in that. Yeah.
Oh, he's awesome. He's awesome. He's awesome. And you know, I always love to hook up with Benga, man. And so with this film, just the basic storyline of the film. Tell for those who go on, and by the way, everyone watching, go and watch it. Netflix, Matt Hope, All the Devil's Men. What made you choose that title, All the Devil's Men?
All the Devil's Men. It comes from another film called All the President's Men.
Yes,
you know, about Watergate. Yeah. So it was just like, because I wanted to make a kind of procedural movie, you know, that you're following these guys. So basically it's about a group of, you know, these CIA bounty hunters who are tracking this rogue CIA agent through London. And that in a nutshell is it, you know, and then they, you know, obviously get into fights and, you know, have big battles and, you know, but that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to do something like All the President's Men, but with action. That kind of procedural thing. So that's what we did. Awesome.
So any, like, in terms of like future projects, I know I get the sense that you're the man you've written piles and piles of screenplays and scripts.
I have in lockdown.
Lockdown has been a blessing for us.
That's all I've been doing.
Yeah. Lockdown's been you know, and so what you looking to go with next? I mean, obviously, got to save some surprises. We can't tell our audience everything.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I mean, I'm working at the moment, but it's hard to say because in the current climate,
Yes.
I don't know what's going to happen, and so I'm trying to write kind of a variety of things. Nothing sort of is specifically going yet, but I'm working with some people at the moment. So yeah, I mean, I could tell you, but it's sort of like it might not ever happen, in that way, or something else might happen. And I always get asked this question, so it's better that you'll know about it when it comes, when we're starting. But hopefully next year I'll make another film. That's
awesome,
that's
man.
Aim, anyway.
I'm involved, man. Anything that I can get involved in, I'm here, man.
Great, sure.
I'm here.
Yeah,
and I know
I'm here as well.
Oh, good.
And I know I know you're a martial arts fan as well. I can see in the movies, you got that kind of martial arts feel in it as well. Benga, is
he into martial arts?
Because when he came over here, because I do martial arts, and when he came over, we wrestled, we grappled. He's an American grappler, man, and he just.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I think. Yeah. I think I remember him saying something about wrestling. Yeah.
Well, actually,
I mean, I all the fight scenes were designed by the stunt coordinator, John Street, and I kind of said what I wanted, and then he designed them all. And the way you do that is we film them all on video first, cut them together, and make sure that they all worked, and then on the day shot them. But yeah, I didn't really have. I just wanted something the fights to be fast. They didn't go on forever. But he designed them all. Him and Rob Cooper designed them all.
Awesome. Awesome. So with all the COVID-19, the lockdown, I mean, I was looking forward. I'm still looking forward to so many movies coming out in the cinema, and you just don't know when are things gonna start again. And it's a very tricky time, a very, very unsure time for actors and filmmakers at this time. And as we don't know when even if we start shooting now, it might stop again because of a second wave, and there's a lot of uncertainty going on. How do you see things moving forward, like with the whole film world, as we go through this big transition, globally, with film?
Well, that's a huge question. In all honesty, I've no idea. I mean, I don't know. I'm just I think it's like a day-by-day basis. I mean, I did read that the government is going to underwrite the insurance for COVID up to 500 million for UK film production, which is great, because I don't think anybody else is going to insure it. So that, that's a huge step forward.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we've been one of the hardest hit industries, because the way you make films is not, it's a social, a huge social gathering, as you know. So, but I think ultimately, it will pass, and I think it's going to take, it's going to take some heavy knocks, but ultimately, I think it will get back on its feet. And, I want to remain positive. A couple of months ago, it all looked like complete doom and gloom. But I think, people are starting to make films again. Friends of mine are starting to go back to work. So, I think we'll figure out a way of making it work.
Yeah, we will. And there's a lot to write. And there's, as you were saying, you've written a lot over lockdown, and the pen's been busy. It's been on fire, man. And it's awesome.
Well, I think you have to. I think writing is so important. I think if any filmmakers out there, I think if they understand how to write and how to tell a story, that's half of filmmaking.
Exactly.
The visuals are one thing, but if you can work with actors and you can tell a good story, you can write a good story, then it takes you a long way.
Definitely, mate. Definitely. So I mean, you know what? This movie, Matt, is so beautifully shot. What camera did you use to shoot? What was the
Arri Alexa?
Arri Alexa. Oh yeah. That's the
Oh yeah, I know those ones.
Common camera. Andre, you got any questions for our man today?
I've got a couple of questions. I just didn't want to go too adjunct to yours, but one of the questions I wanted to ask was like, what is your process when it comes to doing these kind of fight scenes? Do you have a particular set of cameras that you do? Do you like practice, rehearse it with the actors first, and then you shoot, or do you just record it all together and then just put it all together, or?
Yeah, so for like the hand-to-hand combat stuff, you know, the physical fights, I mean, because you work, you know, you haven't got a lot of time, you haven't got a lot of money, you know, preparation is key. So like one of the fight scenes towards the end, you know, well, all of them, we would film it, you know, the stunt coordinator, John and Rob, they would work the fights out with the actors, you know, and we did this for probably, you know, maybe a couple of weeks, because, you know, it takes time to get into the rhythm of it, you know, and then we filmed it, and then we cut it together, and we all looked at it and went, okay, we need another angle over there, or we need another angle here, or that shot doesn't work, but let's try this shot, and then we'd refilm it and then try it again, and then, you know, until we got it how we liked it. So on the day of shooting, and I think that the end fight in the film between Milo and Joe Milson, who plays one of the baddies, I think we shot that on like day 2, you know, right. And it's like, you know, you go into these things and you go, hang on a minute, I've only been filming for one day, and all we did yesterday was like, you know, walk around a building, and now we're into this fight scenes. But because, you know, because actors' schedules are really, it's difficult to manage that, because it's like, well, they might be doing something else, or, you know, you can have this actor for a set period, like Fichtner, we had him for 5 days, so we have to shoot him, you know, and get him out, you know. Yes. So it's you know, it's just being prepared, you know, but if you can film them beforehand, that's really good. You know, I mean, you know, you can, there's some other thing, you can previs stuff like that. But I think if you can get the actors and, you know, film them doing it, that's the best way of doing it. In terms of all like the machine gun shootouts, they are storyboarded. And we had most of those, I mean, like there's a big one in the middle at the docks, and I think we shot that. It's about the
night shoot,
scripted for like 2. Sorry,
that was a night shoot, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. I remember.
And that was shot, I think, over 2 nights, 3 nights, maybe 3 nights, and it was written as like, you know, 2 pages of action. So we you know, worked that out like to the nth degree. So, and then we storyboarded the whole thing. And then what would happen is we would shoot it. The editor would take all the rushes. She would look at them and sort of roughly cut it together. And then we'd all get together just prior to shooting, you know, the next night, and go, okay, well, we're going to need X, Y, and Z. Yes. Because we're going to need to cover that a bit better, or missing that. So that when you get into the edit room later on, you're not missing any shots, or things don't connect. And I mean, there's always cases where you go, I wish I'd have got that. And we had 3 cameras on that as well, and a kind of splinter unit with Rob Cooper, who shot some of the second unit stuff. You know, he filmed a lot of it, but it was fast, and that's how it's got to be. And I think, you know, there's also it's a good way of doing it. It just keeps the energy up and keeps people going, and, you know. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, there's the night shoots that you're doing, the fight scenes. Don't want to do any spoilers there. People got to go and watch it. Netflix, All the Devil's Men. Go and check it out. And working with Milo, he's just the look. His look alone just was so on point for the character. That rough, rugged kind of look. And I know with a lot of actors, you know, who may have a family who are established actors, did you find working with him did you find that it was a case of just working with him? Did you think he had that idea that, oh, well, you know, my father's Mel Gibson, and I just got to make my own kind of way in the film industry, do my own thing? Because he was very good. He was very, very good. I mean, had I not known he was Mel Gibson's son, he was brilliant, you know? And so what was it like working with him, and how the whole process of getting him, casting him, how was it with him?
I really like Milo. He was great. You know, I mean, you know, he's from Hollywood royalty. So, you know, he could
Exactly.
have come in sort of like, you know, throwing his weight around, you know, I'm Mel Gibson's son, but he didn't, you know, and everybody liked him. You know, he got on, you know, he's a very personable guy, you know, he's a young guy, he hadn't done much. You know, to be honest with you, I didn't know Mel Gibson had any children that acted. It was only because, you know, one of our executive producers, when we were casting this, said, "What about Milo Gibson?" And we were like, "Who's that?" And they said, "Yeah, Mel Gibson's son." And we were like, "Wow, Mel Gibson has a son who acts. Okay, let's, you know." So we went to meet him, and we put him on tape, and we liked him. You know, he was good. He was good. I think it's funny because the producer and I, we went to LA, and we were up. You know, we landed, and we'd been up a long time, and we went straight to the cinema. And he had a tiny bit in Hacksaw Ridge. Mel Gibson,
Clint Eastwood, right?
You know, so we sat in the front row, kind of almost in the front row, going, "Is that him? Is that him?" You know, and then, you know, we saw him a couple of times and went, "Okay, you didn't really learn anything from that, but he looked good on screen, obviously, because he looks a lot like his dad, and he had that same kind of, you know, the same sort of intensity, and you know, we just liked him." You know, and he liked it and obviously wanted to do it. He came over, and you know, we all had a good time. And I really rate him. He was really good.
He was. So Matt, with when it comes to casting and seeing actors, how much of a percentage would you say is down to imagery and look, and percentage to talent? So you've got the talent of what an actor can do, and then how they actually look in terms of this on screen to all the actors that are watching this. What would you say is the most important? Where would you lean more towards, visual or talent or visual?
I would say talent.
Right.
You know, I mean, talent is so important. I mean, if you know, and you want the actor to be on the same page as you as well, but talent more than anything. Yeah, I mean, you can have a good-looking guy or girl, you know, and they look the part, but they can't act, or you know, it's horrific. So I'd rather go with talent, you know. And there are so many, you know, wonderfully talented actors out there.
There is. That's right.
But definitely, definitely talent.
Because
I mean, some people,
like to get somebody.
Some of the background artists, you know, you might cast for looks and things like that.
Right.
You know, some of the tiny, you know, non-speaking roles, but have a, you know, presence in the movie, bodyguards, that kind of thing. You might cast on look more than anything. But main cast, it's always, you know, talent. You know, always talent.
Yeah. And you know what? The thing is, a lot of actors as well, and I include myself in this as well, is that I learned a lot from just being on set, watching other actors. I learned what I learned in drama school, but in all honesty, I learned doing short films, being on short films, and just growing in it, doing the little things, and then growing in confidence. Most of the things I learned just being on set, that the talent for me was developed. And brand, like your brand, your cast type, all of these things, how you look, can you play a rugged person, a police officer, a soldier, or a villain? All of those things are important. How important is it for actors to know their own brand, their own selves, before they approach yourself and casting directors?
It's an interesting question. I think, you know, I think people should be aware of, you know, their kind of talent in one sense, you know, how talent, I mean, I always try and, you know, I'm always trying to improve my own talent, you know, get better at what I do. And yeah, that's a very, very good question. Because it all, you know, it's just, you know, when I'm casting, you know I have a specific idea in my mind, and you know, the casting director, you know, is showing you people, and you go, yeah, that's kind of what I have in mind, and that person fits the bill, and they could come from anywhere, you know. So, but it's just more, I think, you know, it's just more perseverance with acting, you know. I mean, it's hard on what I do, you know. You know, you have to kind of bare your soul, and you have to, you know, you have to be willing to put yourself out there in situations that most of us won't be willing to do. And it's hard. That's tough. But you know, I have the utmost respect and admiration for actors. You know, because of what they do. You you know, putting themselves through that. And also, you know, even not even just the kind of psychological process that goes on with creating roles, and you know, how you get in and out of that, and you know, the amount of prep work and all that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Man, definitely. Listen, man, when you're holding master classes, we've got to be involved, man. We've got to come and sit down and learn more and more from you, Matt, because mate, we always it's all about connecting and networks in this kind of industry, because there's so much to learn. No,
there is. Yeah, and I think you're always learning. You know, I always look at every film as sort of correcting my mistakes from the last film and then making more on the, you know, on the current one. So, you know, I mean, I can never, once the film is done, I can never see it as a film because I made it. So, you know, there's no point me watching it. It's like, you know, once it's done, it goes out there. But you know, you'd be kind of an egomaniac to come home at night and go, yeah, let's stick on All the Devil's Men. I mean, I hope people do, but not me. You know, I mean, you know, look, I love the film. You know, I got to work with some really, really great people. But, you know, you want to then move on. You know, it's like you don't watch your own performances, you know.
Yeah, it's hard to do that. It's hard to watch
sure.
A family member from Cooks, let's watch your movie. I'm like, oh, okay. And you're sitting there and you're like, oh. You know, I never understood that when actors like Johnny Depp say, oh, I can't watch myself. I understand now. I totally, because you're looking at it and sometimes you want to correct, oh, I should have done this. And you don't ever want to have that in your head. Like, you just, it's done now, it's gone. You know?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I know. Well, I say, well, let's watch your movie together. And I'm like, no, you can watch it on your own. I mean, you do. Obviously, you know, when you came to see it, none of those people had seen them, or the vast majority hadn't seen it. So it's good to watch it kind of like a few times with an audience. I saw it there, and it had a small cinema release in America. And my wife and I, we went there and took a load of our friends.
Nice.
And it was good, you know, and there was a load of paying people in there who didn't know me at all. And it was just good to see the response to it. But, you know, but then it's done, you know, then it's like, right, okay, we move on to the next one.
Awesome. So Matt, do you see yourself doing like television series and all these kind of things? Obviously, you do movies. Like, what would be, who would be your dream actor to work with?
I don't know. It's like you know, anyone good. I'm always happy to get anyone good. You know,
even if they're not known as well, unknown actors. Just really good, talented people.
That's great. You know, man. I mean, because I don't want to single anyone out, but anybody.
And it's always that family of it. Yeah.
You know,
it's always that family of actors that you've worked with before, that, you know, like actors like Michael Mann. You always see that he always uses the same actors that he uses before in his other movies, for example. You see Spike Lee as well, they always use the same actors, and it's that trust and that family thing that you build up, that camaraderie you build up with other actors. They always seem to, you know, bring in the same actors that they worked with before because of that trust and that relationship that's already been established. Also, I think a lot of people ask questions like, as a director / producer, how would you, what is the first thing? Obviously the script's written, you've written drafts. Who do you go to now get investment, to get the actors, or to get interest, to get the money, the finances moving, so you can actually get your movie started, for example?
Well, I'm not, just to clarify, I'm not a producer. So I always have to go and find a producer who wants to make my film, you know. But from there, you know, there are, in this country, you know, there's the tax credits, there's like the BFI. You know, you can go to any of the companies here, any of the independent production companies. You know, there's multiple ways of doing it. You know, my second film was, you know, privately financed, like my first film. And then you take it, you know, you get a sales agent, and they take it to any market like Berlin or Cannes, and then they just start selling it to, you know, territory by territory, and then you accumulate a certain amount of your budget back that way. And that's one way of doing it. Or someone comes in and finances it outright, which is, you know,
that's brilliant, man. That's brilliant. That's brilliant.
But that, you know, but even then, you yeah, if you're talking low budget stuff, sorry, I'm just going to put the light on.
No worries, man. No worries. Andre, don't be bashful, man. You ask away, man. You're the younger generation, man. We've got a few moments.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah? You know, if you're starting out and you made a feature film, you know, and it's next to no money, you know, there's still like a whole bunch of sales agents you can take your film to, and then they can start selling it. You know, a while ago, some friends of mine, they made this little low budget zombie movie called Zombie Diaries, and they made it for like $8,000. You know, and it started pulling in like over $100,000 in sales.
Wow.
And, so you know, it's like you can do, if you have a film, you know, that's why I think I made a horror film, even though that's not really my genre as such. But if you have a film that sort of connects, then, you know, I always think that, you know, if you can make it commercial, I mean, it's kind of hard, because what is commercial? You know, who knows who knows if the film's going to do well or not. But I think it's like, if it's personal to you and you really believe in it, then, you know, it will find an audience.
Exactly. I know we have a few more minutes. We haven't got a lot of time. So
I've got a couple of questions.
Go ahead, young man.
Sure.
One of them is like, would you describe yourself as like a director who writes, or just a writer who directs? That's one of them.
I think that's kind of the same thing. I mean, I'm a writer director. That's how I see myself. You know, but I would direct other people's script if it was good and it came to me. I think, you know, I just like writing my own stories, really. That to me is the most important thing. And also, when, you know, I come from the kind of like low budget filmmaking world, so you don't have the money to option books. So, you know, you just have to create your own stories. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. So, you know what? Before we time out, Matt, listen, my man, I know you're a Kung Fu fan, and we're the same age. We're 70s babies, man. I've been doing my research. You know, what was your favorite Kung Fu movie from the 70s, my man?
Maybe Enter the Dragon.
Oh, come on.
Yes. That's my favorite film as well.
Is it? Yeah. Maybe Enter the Dragon.
All the dubbing and with
actually, maybe, or probably you know, thinking about it, maybe Fist of Fury.
Oh.
Fist of Fury, yes. Yeah.
That was the first one I saw, and I think probably that actually is better than Enter the Dragon.
Did you love the dubbing or the Chinese version? Like, hey, you killed my teacher.
Yeah. I grew up on the dub version, no doubt. You can't read subtitles at that age when you're watching Kung Fu.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. Underrated.
What's your favorite?
My favorite, apart from Enter the Dragon, I would say my favorite would have to be apart from Enter the Dragon, apart from Fist of Fury. Do you know The Big Boss? That was filmed in Thailand, The Big Boss.
Yeah, and The Big Boss is great. Yeah.
I love Police Story comes to my mind as well. You know what? Also, Police Story and Snake, The Drunken Master. Awesome. Jackie Chan, Drunken Master.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a very good one.
The stories are all the same.
Yeah.
Someone's teacher dies, he learns Kung Fu, gets revenge. It's always about revenge. And it worked. And they've done hundreds and thousands of those films. But yeah, The Drunken Master and the 36 Chambers of Shaolin, I think, which is also on Netflix as well. I prefer the old Kung Fu movies than the new ones. The new ones are good, but the old ones, there's something about it. It's just, does it for me.
I think the only new ones I like is the ones done by Ang Lee.
Okay.
But aside from that, like personally, my favorite one is the one with Chuck Norris with Bruce Lee. Can't remember all that film.
That's the
Way of the Dragon.
Oh, Way of the Dragon. That's right, Way of the Dragon.
The Way of the Dragon. I like that one.
Yeah, that
That was
fight at
one
the
of
end
my
of Red
favorite.
Dragon is really good.
Awesome. Listen, man, anytime you got Kung Fu movies, I'm your guy. I'm your guy.
Yeah.
I'm involved, mate.
Someone should make a UK Kung Fu movie. A
Yes.
good UK
With all
Kung
the
Fu
dubbing.
movie. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Definitely. So listen, Matt, we're gonna thank you very, very much for your time, my man. And like, you know, people, please go and see.
I know, my pleasure. Anytime.
Thank you, man. Go and see All the Devil's Men on Netflix right now. Go and watch that. It's awesome. It's great. It's shot in London. Also, what was the other location you went to? Was it? I don't want to guess. What was the other location?
It's where they shot Top Gear. Which I'm just trying to think. But we shot a lot in East London as well. Yeah. Down at Millennium Mills, we shot a lot down there. Yeah, kind of all over East London mainly.
Yeah, nice. It was nice, man. It's nice, people. You got to go and watch it Netflix right now. All the Devil's Men. And listen, Matt, thank you very much. Thank you very, very much.
Pleasure.
Man. We're always supporting you, man. And you know, definitely, let's have another conversation. And looking forward to your future projects. Watching them, and you know, online. You know, in the cinema. Hopefully, you know, get the cinema industry comes back again real soon, which I'm sure it will. Man, this is great. British talent, loving it, man. Love that movie. Thank you very much, man. Big ups and shout outs to Benga and all of the cast and crew and everyone involved in that movie, All the Devil's Men. Thank you very much, Mr. Matt Holt.
My pleasure, guys. Thank you. Thanks for having me and you know, letting me promote the film some more. So yeah,
always.
And good luck with your projects.
Definitely. We're gonna write out some stuff and we even send it to you. You can.
Yeah, no, sure, by all means.
Definitely.
Yeah, by all means.
Thank you, my man. Cheers.
All right. Take care. See you later. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
So Andre, that was awesome.
That was a good one.
It was awesome.
That was great.
Yeah, man. So, you know, this is what we say. This is what we do here at Black Film Institute. We try and hook up the common man, the common woman, the common people with guys like Matt Hope, man, who is making waves in cinema, and he's awesome. And this is why we have young persons like Andre on board, who's a part of the Black Film Institute, you know, working behind the scenes on his own scripts, you know, and it's all about education, sharing and learning, network, succeed and learn, man. So yeah, what did you think about that? As we got a couple minutes left, what did you learn from that, Andre?
I learned quite a lot in terms of like how he plans his shots in terms of like the fight choreography, because it's a little bit that I was exploring myself, because like I found footage thriller that I was working on, and I had to get like a stunt coordinator. So it's interesting for myself because and like how he conducts like his action sequences.
Awesome.
Like there's a couple questions I wanted to ask him, like for instance, like does he shoot all the fight scenes first before like the quieter scenes?
Yeah.
And
I think
also
he did say that he
like
shot the fight scene first in the beginning, and the second day shot a fight scene anyway. He did say that. And
okay.
Yeah. You know, and it's very interesting the way you were saying how he goes about raising the money and where you can go, the film institution, tax breaks, getting a producer. But one thing I did get from it, Andre, is that it's all about the writing, having that finished product in writing form. For me, that's what I learned from it as well. But yeah, man, yeah, definitely.
Another thing I wanted to ask him as well was like what genre he was comfortable in doing as well.
Yeah, that
was one thing I wanted to ask you.
We're getting back on. We're getting back on again, man. We're getting back on. Listen, you know what? Everyone, thank you for joining us here at Black Film Institute. Follow, like, subscribe. You've been with your boy, Courtney Winston, hosting. Andre, young filmmaker, scriptwriter, director coming up, you know. And you were here and you were joined with us and our guest, Matthew Hope, the writer and director of All the Devil's Men, starring Milo Gibson, and a host of stars, actors in there, obviously actors, yeah. And please go and watch that on Netflix. Awesome. I had the honor of watching it. It was great. So everyone, we're going to sign off. Please follow, like, and subscribe. Andre, my man, thank you for joining us, my young man. And yeah, thank you.
No problem.
Cheers.
Follow, like, subscribe